Good morning, wherever it is that you're watching us from. This is Aso Morning on Aso Television. My name is Usman Khatun Umar. We're broadcasting live from the center of Nigeria's capital atop Katampi Hill. Of course, Aso Morning is that your daily, breakfast show where we bring to you different segments that are geared towards enhancing your coast of understanding, Nigeria and Africa, and indeed the entire world generally. So we have for you different segments, including of course our newspaper review segment, where we take a look at some of the stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies. We take a look at them with the help of some of our experts, and so that we can be able to expand our understanding of the issues as they are. And then, of course, we have our very usual and relevant segment, which is behavioral check segment, where Dr. James Komalafe and his team, get to dish out those healthy tips that will keep us healthy physically, mentally, and, as he always puts it, spiritually also. Thereafter, we will have our first interview of the day. Remember that the AFCON, of course, there can't be a breakfast show on the 12th day of the month of February when AFCON just ended yesterday without a talk about what all that meant or means generally to the country and the continent indeed. So we will be having conversations around that and what that tournament means to the unity of Nigeria and indeed the continent of Africa. And thereafter we will be joining Investment Plus team, where we will get to listen to some tips of financial management. But definitely you will agree with me that that is very much needed as things are at the moment. We will be, of course, taking another round of interview after that before we call it a day on the program. So that's just a bit of rundown of what to expect on this breakfast show today. Once again, my name is Osman Khatun Umar. I'll be going on a very quick break. By the time we return, it will be time for us to take a look at some of the stories that made the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be wielded by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of Aso Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, Aso Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
You're welcome back from that very short break, and this is now the time for us to delve into the first segment of the program, which is the newspaper review. And today we're taking a look at a couple of newspapers, but we'll start with This Day newspaper. And This Day is leading with this development. Tinubu, Akpabio, Abbas, Obi, governors, others mourn Herbert Wigwe, family members Ogunbanjo. With rider, President describes demise as overwhelming tragedy, shocking beyond comprehension. Another rider, preliminary reports reveal wintry weather condition contributed to chopper crash. Another rider, Access Holdings confirm incident, says acting group managing director will to be announced soon. Of course, over the weekend we heard of the unfortunate incident that led to the death, that was a crash of a chopper in the United States, which was convened the general group managing director of Access Holdings, that is the owners of and operators of Access Bank, Herbert Wigwe, very young entrepreneur, a billionaire for that matter, who died in that crash. Of course, a lot of people from around the world have been sending in condolences. And this time around, we have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, Peter Obi, that is the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the just concluded presidential election. Other governors, and they all mourning the passing of this gentleman. Already the investigations are underway, and from what is already coming in, wintry weather conditions are said to be responsible for that helicopter crash. Whatever it is, of course, it's an unfortunate loss to the family, and then indeed to the nation, and of course the continent of Africa as a whole. He's been an inspiring young person. He takes his time to motivate the younger generation, particularly with regards to discipline, financial discipline, to keep you on track towards your set objectives and set goals in life generally. He's been very popular on the social media platforms, talking every now and then to younger generations, particularly on how to be, street smart, how to be financially wiser, to stay the course. But unfortunately, death, the Reaper has come to do its own, and all we can do at this point in time is to submit to the will of the Almighty and wish the family the fortitude to bear this very, very painful loss. Moving on, above that story, you have Pastor Adeboye. Nigeria's problems beyond human ability require spiritual solution. This is General Overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Adeboye, saying that the problems Nigeria is encountering at the moment are far, far beyond human ability. What is needed, according to the clergy, is for us to seek spiritual solution. Of course, there is a writer says those in authority trying their best. Those in authority are trying their best. Now let's quickly look above the masthead of This Day newspaper. You have federal government Mba hail Super Eagles for impressive outing in Côte d'Ivoire. Of course, we have enough time to talk about this, but you cannot but clap for the Super Eagles. They put out an impressive performance yesterday to the best of their ability. Of course, lapses here and there, but what has happened has happened. Ultimately, we made it to the final and we became second best the 2023 AFCON. Of course, there are quite a lot of things to say about this, but we will wait until that very segment where we'll be having someone here to help us talk through all of this. And definitely there is the Aso sports team who are, of course, ready to also talk more about the technicalities and whatnot. But generally, as far as I'm concerned, AFCON, I must give kudos to the organizers, that is the CAF, and the participating national teams generally for the show of maturity. AFCON has come of age. AFCON has improved tremendously if you have to take a look at it. The host country itself, Côte d'Ivoire, look at the caliber of the sporting facilities that they made available, the hotels. I don't think we heard of any complaint from any of the national team regarding ill treatment or poor accommodation or whatnot. The plan, everything was planned, funds were provided, and the things that needed to be done were all done to ensure that we had a hitch-free competition or tournament, as it were. And of course, the host country, though in fact people who are written off from the word go, triumphing, they galloped their way to the final, and as it were, they lifted the trophy. For me, I'm very, very happy. Of course, it's saddening to see my own darling Super Eagles lose, but I was happy for Ivorians last night. Watching the presentation ceremony, the stadium was packed full, well, 60,000 capacity. Watch countrymen and women all united in one voice, in victory. United in victory. Victory is sweet. Of course, we saw that. I don't know what the stadium would have looked like if Super Eagles had won that match, but it was a spectacle to watch last night, and I was happy. For me, on a very personal note, I had wished that it became a West African affair. I wanted the final to be a West African affair. It did. Of course, to my happiness, Super Eagles made it to the final, of course. And then a West African country, people who you can, by and large, call our neighbors, so to speak, they won. But for the fact that they were the host nation, they put in so much to give us a befitting AFCON. And at the end of the day, they triumphed over the Eagles. It said that the elephant, trampled upon the Eagles last night. Kudos to them. 2024 is already here. Morocco is gearing up to host, and we hope that they give us something better than what the bar that has been set by Ivory Coast, by Cote d'Ivoire rather. They don't want to be called Ivory Coast anymore. It's part of the things that I'm sure a lot of people got to learn in this tournament. There are people who even said for the first time they knew that there is a country on the continent of Africa called Cape Verde, even though they prefer to be called Capo Verde. A lot of things to learn. We are just getting to learn as Africans. We are getting to learn more about ourselves as a people of the continent, and indeed the geography of the continent itself. So it's a good place to start. A lot of people have read up a little bit about other countries that they have met, they have seen in this AFCON. So that's one of the, I think, objectives of this tournament, enhancing Africa's understanding of itself. And for me, it has done quite a lot to achieve that. So congratulations to the winners. We hope that, as Super Eagles always say, we'll go again. We'll definitely go again. No country on the continent has had the record that we have kept for qualifying to the finals. Even though we've won the tournament just for 3 times, we wanted to go for the 4th time last night. It didn't happen. We go again. It's the spirit of Niger that is behind all of that. So congratulations to everybody for a successful tournament. I just said I should take a little bit time to, talk a little bit about that before we get to talk about other ramifications proper in our first interview segment of the program. Of course, there is another story. NUPRC engages Total Energies on offshore oil development, domestic crude obligation. Of course, detail of this is on page 3 of this the newspaper. So very quickly, let's take a look at the second paper for today, which is the Blueprint newspaper. And the Blueprint this morning is leading with this story. Adegboye Uba Sani, Nigeria needs urgent spiritual help. We will get it right. With a rider, beg citizens to give our leaders a chance. Of course, it's a continuation of what we read earlier coming from the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Of course, Nigeria needs urgent spiritual help. Is that so? As much as one wants to go, faithful this morning, quote and unquote, definitely as much as we need spiritual help, we also need some economic help, political help, and every kind of help that we can deploy to ensure that this very difficult period of our national existence, passes away as quickly as possible, to give way for some relief to the citizens, because truly, it is not funny, it is not easy on families. A lot of people are going through a lot. Yeah, no, I must admit, we could see already pockets of protest here and there over hardship. Nigeria Labour Congress and TUC came out last week to give the government an ultimatum of 2 weeks to get this right, to ease this suffering before they embark on another level of action. So it's really something that requires the cooperation of all. But of course, as much as we have our spiritual leaders begging citizens to give leaders a chance, we must also insist that the citizens continue to do their own duty of reminding the leaders of why they are there in the first place. Another story of interest, minimum wage. APC chieftain warns federal government to avoid arbitrary increment. Remember that the National Minimum Wage Committee has already been inaugurated, and they are expected to submit their report to the president very soon. Of course, advice is being thrown their way that the federal government should not arbitrarily, impose increment, especially on states who cannot be able to pay. Like we said earlier from the onset of this conversation about national minimum wage, it's one thing for the federal government to come up with a figure, then it's another thing for the states to be able to live up to that obligation, because we must be realistic. There are states that are not economically viable, not because there are no resources in those states, but the leadership to galvanize these resources for the benefit of the majority of the citizens of the state is yet to be in place. So if we at the end of the day come up with a figure and expect that these states also tag along, then it only further compounds the economic chaos such states were already going through. So this advice is apt, and this will mean that even state governors will have to now level up their level of thinking, so that they'll be able to become a little bit more creative with regards to especially their IGR, internally generated revenue, so that more money can be made available to throw at some of these problems that are coming up. As far as I'm concerned, there is no amount that the federal government will come up with as in the name of minimum wage within the range that one expects that will be able to completely eliminate the problems that we're facing, except if the root causes are tackled. And what's the root cause of all of this? We all know the country, of course, was experiencing some level of hardship, but this was further compounded by the removal of fuel subsidy, which threw up the price of liter of fuel to very unprecedented heights. And this, of course, is connected to virtually every other thing, and inflation is crazy as we speak. You have 100,000 naira now, it's more like you have 10,000 naira in your hands. 10,000 naira now is more like 1,000 naira in your hand. Therefore, when you still have people who are earning the same amount of salary that they were earning 5 years ago, today, that, of course, naturally is a cause for concern, because, like they say, the take-home pay has lost the ability to actually take people home any longer. So it's really a serious situation that requires not just increment of the national minimum wage, but of course efforts to tackle the root cause of all of this. Everyone most people who understand are in support of removal of fuel subsidy, but as much as we do that, we must also ensure that the impact does not linger. We understand the fact that yes, after some suffering comes some enjoyment. We must endure, yes, but it shouldn't linger. That's the whole point. It shouldn't linger. Lingering means for months, years, we continue to say we are making sacrifices. But when the sufferings come, it should swiftly go away to give room for some sort of relief for the citizens, because that's the entire function of government, to make life a little more easier for the people. And where this fails, definitely it begins to put questions on the capability of those in power. But we believe that with efforts being made, CBN doing its own best, with the CBN governor and the coordinating minister of finance and the national economy they were at the National Assembly last week explaining to the lawmakers who are under pressure by their constituents to understand what's really going on. And a lot of explanations have been made and efforts being made were also explained. So we hope that in the shortest possible time, these efforts begin to yield the needed results. Of course, quickly, before we call it a day on this segment of the program, we want to take a look at the Punch newspaper. And the Punch is leading with this story. Heartbroken, Nigerians mourn Wizkid Wigwe with a rider. Friends, well wishes recall the CEO's life and times. Another rider, Nigeria may demand reports as US probes crash. Another rider, he was unlike other Nigerian big men, says mentee. Wigwe exit of banking Wizkid. The last rider, Tinubu Abiodun family friends mourn stock exchange giant Ogunbanjo. So these are some of the condolences still coming in the wake of the passing of Wigwe, Herbert Wigwe. Of course, in the financial sector, he is a giant. Talk about banking, talk about stock exchange. He is a huge name to behold. But like I said earlier, my own take on him is his availability to mentor a lot of Nigerians. He's really made a lot of impact on many Nigerians and indeed many Africans because his influence is way beyond the shores of Nigeria. I was watching a TV station in South Africa last night, and you could just see a lot of people, even Ghana, a lot of people, also sending their condolences, giving testimonies of how his lifestyle, his speeches, what he says, what he does, have impacted their lives as young people. So we continue to send our own condolences in the way of the family. Above the masthead of the Punch newspaper, Eagles clinch silver as Cote d'Ivoire win AFCON. With rider, Eagles saved worst performance for final match. This is coming from the fans. Nigeria facing worsening economic crisis, says International Monetary Fund, IMF. Of course, we do not actually need IMF to tell us, but we know already, like we've been saying, that Nigeria is at the moment, even the president acknowledges the fact that these are indeed very difficult times for the citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But he continued to reiterate that we should not lose hope. He is here to renew the hope of Nigerians in government. He is here to renew the hope of Nigerians in themselves and in their abilities to rise above these difficult times. So, of course, we continue to expect and wait upon such, to happen as quickly as possible. You have another story below the front cover picture. Nigeria's predicaments, not solely political. This is coming from Adeboye, who says we need spiritual solution. Other stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Discourse overcharged 7.1 million customers in 9 months. Discourse, that is the electricity distribution companies, overcharged 7.1 million customers in 9 months. This is coming from federal government. What the federal government will do with this information, the detail will be on page 21, but we hope that federal government does something. Overcharging 7.1 million customers, meaning that the electricity distribution companies collected extra money that services were not provided for from not one, not two, but 7.1 million Nigerians in 9 months alone. That's quite a huge number. If it's a mistake, that's way beyond the borders of mistakes, and we hope that the Electricity Regulatory Commission steps in to ensure that these 7.1 million customers get the justice that they deserve. 4 killed as gunmen abduct 5 in Ogun. Detail is on page 4 and 6 of the Punch newspaper. Still, updating us about the state of insecurity in parts of Nigeria. Surprisingly, how this issue of kidnapping has now moved, so to speak, to the southwestern part of the country. Could it be that the heat is becoming too much on the northern region, where they had operated for months now, and then they are now turning attention to other parts of the country? We don't know, but we hope that the security agencies are up and doing in ensuring that a holistic approach is adopted, so that there will be no inch of space available for these criminally minded persons to run to. Lastly, Nigeria to become food exporter through mechanized farming. This is coming from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Nigeria to become food exporter through mechanized farming. This is long awaited. Nigeria has all that it takes to feed the continent of Africa and beyond. In fact, there are states alone in Nigeria who, with the right deployment of resources, with the right investment, can feed the entire country and the West African sub-region. There are states in Nigeria that have that capability in terms of land and all of that. But the needed investment has been eluding the states over the years. And so now that the president is turning his attention to agriculture, especially mechanized agriculture, we hope that this will help in alleviating some of the challenges with confronting food crisis. Is there. Farmers have not been able to go to farms over the years due to high level of insecurity, and therefore we are now relying more on importing what we eat. Of course, the federal government also had to open its reserves last week. That is a testimony to the fact that things are really not easy for many families. And so federal government, understanding this, had to direct that some tons of grains be released into the markets, because but those are ad hoc solutions. Permanent solution is what the president is putting his step down to ensure that agriculture, particularly mechanized agriculture, is entrenched in all over the states in the country, because every square inch of Nigeria, every state in Nigeria, I mean to say, has what it takes to to produce sufficient food for the state, the country, and the continent generally. So this is a good news coming from the president, who has been preaching renewed hope, and we hope that we see the results of all of this in no distant time. And it's on this note that we will draw the curtains on this segment of the program to go join Dr. James Komolafe and his team on the behavioral check segment, while we welcome into the studio our first guest for the day. You want to find out who and what we'll be discussing? Do stick around. Dr. James Komolafe, over to you.
Hi out there, great to meet you here again today. Dr. James Komolafe, your behavioral health doctor, live for you again on Aso TV radio on the series on emotional dehydration. Greetings from Saba Resources Intervention Hub, your one-stop behavioral health hub that handles the good, the bad, and the ugly via behavior modification principles. Today, I have an exciting topic for you on emotional dehydration. And you want to say, what is it? It is the symptoms of emotional dehydration. How do I know when I am dehydrated emotionally? Oh, You are out there saying, I only know of physical dehydration when my body lacks the fluid, the water content, and I'm running dry. Which one is emotional dehydration? Yes, man is essentially spirit being. He possesses a soul and lives in the body. So your mind is implicit in all that you are and have and will ever do. Everything you take in by way of ingestion fits your life in all entirety. Your persona is fed via it. You take water, yes, you are fed by it. You are sustained by it. As it is in physical dehydration, where you run out of fluid, so it is in emotional dehydration. And you may want to ask, what is the fluid? You need the life fluid coming out of the recesses and the processes of your mind to power your daily emotion. So emotion is the force of life, where you burn and build energies on 4 critical lanes: mental energy, emotional energy, physical energy, and even the spiritual energy. So you are emotionally dehydrated when your emotion, your capacity to interact and interrelate with others is short-circuited. You are deflated. You are drained. You have the short fuses there. You are dehydrated. You can't take things for too long. Before you say jack, you lose fire. You lose steam. You are dehydrated. So, how do I know further when I'm dehydrated? 1, instability becomes the order of the day. You pant here and there. You are restless. You lack concentration. Your energy is in the drain. You experience what I call mental fatigue or weakness. Memory losses becomes the order of the day. You are so forgetful, and you say, I don't know why. Frequent mistakes, known and unknown issues clog your mind, and you experience quick tiredness, short fuses. Anger management challenges becomes the order of the day, and you wonder why. It is simply because you are emotionally dehydrated. The fluid you need as a result of immediate critical supply of resources from your mind that powers your emotion are not there, or you have just less of it. When you are stressed, you become nervous wreck. You have an unbalanced lifestyle protocol, not in harmony with your other area of life. The physical and the mental and spiritual realities are just running riot altogether. Are you there out listening to me? And you are dehydrated emotionally, and you see instability and all kinds of mumbo-jumbo lifestyle now, please put a call through. We have a reality check to help you spot check, and then we'll reverse the trend and reset you to your default mode so that you can bounce back and achieve full optimality. Then you are stable without being static. Then you are structured without being silenced. And there you have it. My number, Coach Komolafe. My number, 08035999220. I say it again in case you are not in Nigeria. +234 8035 999-220. Call us today. I and my critical team will support you to find balance as an individual, as a family, as an institution. We'll domesticate incentives that will make room for that rounded balance for you. I hope you got a value today. Thank you so very much, See you next time, and bye-bye.
Of course, there is no moment spent with Dr. James Komolafe that you don't get to learn something new, particularly something that concerns your well-being. It's always a very valuable moment spent with him, and I hope that just like us in the studio, you've been able to pick some points that you will continue to work with as you progress in your daily dealings. Now, I did flag it during the introduction that of course can't be any television or radio program that is to be hosted today in Nigeria, or let me say even in Ivory Coast, or Cote d'Ivoire, pardon me, that you cannot talk about AFCON. And that's why this morning, of course, we have our first guest in the studio, very young, enterprising, engaging, passionate, patriotic Nigerian. He's been on this program before a couple of times, but we deemed it fit that he is, very fit and suitable to discuss this, because we're talking about passion, we're talking about patriotism. So we want to appraise AFCON generally, and particularly the participation of Nigeria from the beginning till now. And we also want to look at it beyond the pitch, and that's why I want you to help me welcome to the studio Barrister Morris. Good morning, and it's good to see you again.
Can I shake you? Is it
of course, you can. Congratulations.
To us. Of course. Yeah, to all, because to Africa.
Definitely.
Yeah, to Africa, because we have always been advocating for Africa, and it gives me joy to see that Africa football has evolved. We understood that the whole world, from those in America, from those in Europe, you understand, we all tune into the AFCON, especially the final. So we want to say kudos to Ivory Coast. Congratulations to them too. You understand, because in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, we actually stretch our hands in failure to say congratulations to them, and to Nigerians too, because and to South Africa, and to the whole team, because they actually made it a memorable experience. We realized that during this period, despite all the challenges facing the country, Nigerians had something to look forward to, some excitement. So I want to say congratulations to the Super Eagles. We are all winners. Thank you very much. All
right, so AFCON generally, over the years, like you rightly introduced, talking about the interest that it generates, this year, this particular one that just ended, would you say it's different from others, and in what ways would you say these differences have come to the limelight? For me, I completely agree with you that Africa generally has come of age. So in what areas would you say we have made progress, particularly with organizing a tournament of this magnitude?
Well, I want to say kudos again to Ivory Coast, because maybe I will feel is maybe Didier Drogba, the minds of Didier Drogba of Ivory Coast are actually the one that inspired them, because we saw the speeches, you understand, you saw the football field, and you understand that world-class standard, and they invested so much in publicity, in branding, because everything is branding and packaging, and they invested so much in it, and you could understand that this AFCON, there was a lot of game changers. In fact, underdogs, people that were not expecting. I was so proud of Cape Verde. You understand? Cape Verde is not a footballing nation, but they were actually able to cause a lot of challenges, cause a lot of standstorms. See what happened to Cameroon. So there are nations that were feeling anomaly, like Senegal, like Morocco. These are countries that these ones are footballing nations, but there was a lot of upset in it. I can tell you that African is coming of age, and it shows you that charity begins at home.
True.
You understand? And I'm more excited because for a very long time we have been advocating for African Agenda 2063. We have been advocating, and it's the young people, it's the youth that are actually going to be at the forefront in promoting the Africa we want. So I was so excited knowing that all the players on the field are actually youth, knowing that definitely now we are selling our best product outside. But it also breaks my heart too that we should come back grassroots. You understand? We need to come back grassroots. And it breaks my heart more that most of the coaches that are to the African nations, we're not Africans themselves. You understand? I believe that a foreigner cannot make me to be patriotic. You understand? So we have a lot of materials, assets that we should need to look inwards. You understand? So going forward, I want to say that at least we have come of age that let us shade our mind away from this new colonialism. You understand this issue that anything that has to do foreign white, anything that has to do with white skin is considered superior to the black skin. So we understand that yes, Africa is the future, and Africa is the future of the world.
Okay, would you like what you've said now concerning especially the national team coaches? Ivory Coast, of course, they have won. And if you look at the man who was able to, bring them this victory, he was an assistant manager who got promoted during this very tournament, and he's a son of the soil. So would you say that was a factor that inspired that kind of spirit in the players?
Yes. I would say it because before I came here, I heard somebody venting that why wasn't J.J. Okocha at the stadium yesterday to inspire the Nigerian team. You understand that? See, if you want to talk to a youth, don't go and bring an elderly man, bring a fellow youth. They can relate.
True.
At least if you bring someone that has gone through the past, these persons have gone through, they understand the pulses of these people. There's an opportunity and there's a privilege of them bringing that issue of spirit, that passion inside of them. You understand? See, passion is infectious. Passion is very, very infectious. If you see someone that's passionate, it can infect you. So that is what we need right now. And I also want to say a clarion call to Nigerians. We understood how during the AFCON everybody was united, despite Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, despite your language and religion. Why can't we post-AFCON, how can we see how we can generate that spirit into every walks of life? Because see, Nigerians have short-term memory. When we forgot that we have been suffering, we forgot everybody concentrated. Yes, I enjoy that about Nigeria, but now that AFCON has finished, how can we use that patriotism, that passion we actually had, how can we put it to the areas of Nigeria that is not working? We are part of our super heroes. We have the African best player on our team, the best female player on our team, so it's enough.
And even the player of the tournament, Trust Ekong, he went away with that trophy yesterday also. So but we have enough time to talk about the lessons to learn from AFCON and all of that, but we're still looking at some of the things, the build up to the tournament itself. If you look at, because I want to really concentrate on the issue of coaching and someone to inspire that spirit, because like one of the greatest coaches that I know said, Jose Mourinho, he said, I can't teach Drogba how to dribble. I can't teach, you mentioned players, I can't teach them how to pass, I can't teach them, but what I can tell them is I can look them in the eye and say, I want you to do this for me. And
simple.
They should be able to deliver for me.
It's simple.
However they do it on the pitch is their business. So like you mentioned J.J. Okocha, and I want to also talk about how the role some of these guys played. Calvin Bassey, one of our defenders, he said that he begged J.J. Okocha, that Okocha came to their dressing room in one of the matches, and he spoke to them, and he said he felt different, and he had to beg him that even if he will not be on the coaching crew, he wants him to be on the pitch every match they will play.
That is what we talking about.
And he said anytime he is on the pitch, and you know he's aware that Okocha is somewhere watching him, that he feels different.
Imagine when your idol class for you. Back then, you used to say, imagine when those senior men, senior men, when they start giving you that salute. You feel inspired. You say, I feel like Superman. You feel like Superman. You want to go all out for it. You want to break record. I am of the opinion that we don't need a foreign coach to coach us. We have every asset. We have everything here. We have men that has made so much back there. Why can't we start looking inward? Because of this new colonialism issue, this mentality that anything that is abroad, everything that is European is better. But I'm of the opinion that I beg to differ from that.
Well, if you look at it, like when the late Stephen Keshi, when he coached the national team, we saw the exploits and we saw the level of respect that the players at that time gave to the man Stephen Keshi before he left the national team and eventually passed away. So amen. I want to agree with you to that extent that you could even hear they were not even calling him by his name. They called him the boss. the boss. So he commanded that level of authority
because of the presidency.
Exactly. He said.
Okay, sorry to correction. Let's take our minds back to Real Madrid. Zidane, when he came and did exploit.
Yeah.
And the reason why, even when he was coaching one of the world best players, the reason why they gave him that accolade was because him himself, he has actually made his own mark.
He has made
so if you're bringing someone that this one, he does that, you have maybe went to one this thing. So it's something that this is an appeal to the federal government. I also want to say kudos to the Minister of Sports.
True.
Because when he came on board, no one gave him a chance. No one gave him an opportunity. So Senator Owaeno has actually proven that the rejected stone will always become the cornerstone. So I want to say kudos to him, because we cannot just talk about the Super Eagles without talking about who is number one in his Ministry of Sports. Because I understood when he came, people were actually giving lambasting, who is this one, what is pedigree. But at least he has been able, his first major outing, I will call it major outing, because football is like the major sport in Nigeria and Africa and in the world. So it's one of his first major outing, became second. That's very, very big. You understand? So I want to say kudos to the Minister of Sports, because again, it's not easy. It's not easy when you're on the hot seat and you're giving lambasting here and there, critics. Oh, come on.
And the vice president too. At least he was there in the semi-final. And he was also there in the
I heard the vice president's speech where he was going to Ivy Coast. I said, this man, no wonder they call him the golden boy. He's so worded.
He is.
He's so, the vice president is someone that he can talk and get inspired.
I'm telling you,
he has it.
He has it.
He has the gift of oratory.
He has it.
I can tell you, do the NBA conference, do the last NBA before the election started. Everybody, Nigerians were shocked.
True.
Nigerians, they lambasted by what could come out from his mouth. I was screwed myself, because at the end of the day, nobody gave him a room. Nobody gave him a room. So it's someone that. These are the people we need to start inspiring Nigeria. We need to start inspiring Nigeria in petrol. It should not just end after the AFCON, after football, we're all passionate and we go back. We need to inspire that petrol, so that green, white, green. Yesterday I could see the mood of everybody.
Yeah.
It shows that
it's a uniting factor.
It's a uniting factor.
But you remember what Didier Drogba, because you mentioned him a while ago, what he did when Ivory Coast was going through that political crisis, and I think there was a match that was being played then. And after scoring the goal, he went out of the pitch and knelt down, and he just started crying and begging everyone, let's unite. And that was the end of the civil or the political unrest. I'm just talking about the power.
Let's talk about Drogba again. I will tell you that out of 100% of players on that pitch, Drogba inspired 99.99%.
If not all of them.
If not all of them. He was there.
He was like the coach, because even the coach at the point they even forgot, the cameras forgot the coach. It was Drogba. So his actions and all of that.
See, when we're talking about passion, you understand? When we're talking about passion, when you're passionate about something, it shows everywhere of life. You make sacrifices. So it's time for Nigerians to understand that we need to be passionate. We need to be passionate about our own. It's not just football.
True.
Every area of Nigeria needs that spirit of passion. See, if you're passionate about something, you don't want to hurt it. So this is a clear call to Nigerians that AFCON has finished. What's the way forward? What's the way forward? How can we use that spirit, that uniting factor that came? Everybody wanted the viewing center.
Of course.
Because if you see, yesterday, everybody, no matter what, they invited to that school and watch a game.
Honestly.
Because that is the Nigerian spirit we knew. Growing up as a kid, that was what I saw. Now, because of all the things that have been happening, the banditry, the insecurities, no one's safe again. But I will say, I saw a cartoon caption that even those people, those people, they are even watching the AFCON stuff. And so end of the day, so this is a piece. I beg Nigerians, I beg Abuja. See, because Abuja is the capital of the most populated black nation in the world.
It is.
This is the HQ. This is the HQ. Please, this is not a joke. And I want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for your station to get me here to actually talk to Nigeria, because they say when truth is declared becomes a priority. So we must understand that. See, the journey of a begins with the step, and we must get to where we want to get. Nigeria no go spoil for our hands.
I know, at all.
Nigeria no go spoil for our hands, because we are young people.
At all.
What are we going to say to our children unborn and our children? Because at the end of the day, we young people are the ones that are going to leave that legacy for them.
True.
So I want to say congratulations to Ivory Coast, congratulations Nigeria, to Africa, because at the end of the day, this is the spirit of Pan-Africanism that we're talking about. You know, because we are always wanting to go to Europe, but we are not willing to explain Africa
at all. No, there were people. I came across people who said for the first time they are hearing of a country called Cape Verde. for the first time.
And the Africans.
It's because of AFCON.
Yes.
That for the first time, and the Africans, Nigerians for that matter. So we don't even know ourselves yet.
We don't know ourselves. Because if I want to go to Europe, see, I was going through African countries. I was seeing the tourist sites. I'm like, whoa, this Africa,
of course.
So they say, like I say, charity begins at home. So I want to also understand that, yes, we talk about the SDG 2030, but I say it's not realistic for Africa. And Africa has its own African Agenda 2063. By 2063, the Africa we want should be materialized. And it begins that, I believe that as AFCON has ended now, we should run with this spirit of Pan-Africanism.
Exactly. That's where I wanted to ask next, because after AFCON, what next? The lessons are there for us to learn, but what are the next necessary steps for us to take? And I want you to speak to both for government, what should government do now to galvanize this spirit that will come off with from AFCON, and what should also younger people, the younger generation, also start thinking to do going forward?
You know, Nigeria is not a mistake. Nigeria is not a mistake. Nigeria is the most populated black nation in the world, the giant of Africa. It's not a mistake. So when I hear people say Nigeria should divide, you look at them and laugh. You don't know the value of what you have once you lose it. Once Nigeria gets it right, Africa gets it right. The late Nelson Mandela said, I will paraphrase that he's angry with Nigeria. He's very, very angry with Nigeria that if they should have done what they should do, Africa should not be ready where Africa is right now. Once Nigeria, there's no way you go in the world that you don't see Nigeria.
It's difficult.
It's impossible. You know what I'm saying? So in fact, I was in Nigeria saying that he's going to Kuwait. I say, sure, Kuwait itself. So you know that's that Nigerians are everywhere, and this is not a joking matter. This is an opportunity for us to see how can charity begins at home. You understand? When Nigeria was playing with South Africa, I was scared because we understood what is happening. You understand? But that should not be so. You understand? A South African is an African like me. A Cameroonian is an African like me. A Nigerian is an African like me. So this is the clown call to the federal government of Nigeria, to the president. You understand? Coincidentally, he is the chairman of the ECOWAS. You understand that Nigeria plays a pivotal role. Africa is waiting for Nigeria. Once we get it right, Africa gets it right. So now I was talking about the African Agenda 2063.
Yes.
I said the SDG is not realistic for Africa because by this is 2024. So in the next 6 years we are done with the SDG.
Exactly.
But we have the African Agenda 2063. The thing about Africans, we don't value. We are not Afrocentric. We don't value Africa enough. You understand? We don't value Africa. You understand? It pains me because for more than 4 years now we have been advocating for African Agenda 2063 because I believe that until truth is becomes a priority, we must continue talking. Africa is the future. You know, I enjoy when I connect to someone from Senegal or someone from Cameroon or someone from Ghana. It gives you this sense of Pan-Africanism, and it's so sad that Nigeria does not approach Pan-Africanism
at all.
We are so divided. We practice tribalism. We don't practice Pan-Africanism. If you go to Ghana, everything is Afrocentric. If you go to Senegal, you say Afrocentric. So you go to Afrocentric. But Nigeria, we are always playing this tribe, this religion, and he understands that it's affecting us. When we fail to do what we need to do, we put a longer burden on the upcoming generation. See, I won't be a youth forever. But at least now that you then advocate for this thing. I will understand that a tree does not make a forest. See, let's stop playing politics with everything. Because maybe you're not in a ruling party, you bring an idea, nobody wants to do this thing, they say, make you no come shy. No! You understand? See, that's why I always say I blame our founding fathers, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Awolowo, Tafawa Balewa, because they want to introduce the politics of ethnicity. If you go to Ghana, if you go to they're having the policy of Pan-Africanism ideology. But here in Nigeria, we're doing the issue of tribalism. I am from this place, I am from this place. We are all Nigerians, we are all Africans. So this, like I said, this is a take. See, when AFCON started, I was so excited to watch it because I wanted to be involved in the spirit of Pan-Africanism. You know, I wanted to be infused because it became heartbreaking. Because when you are talking, nobody is even taking you serious. I said, okay, let me go and rejuvenate myself, infuse myself with the spirit of Pan-Africanism. I'm so happy that the AFCON has finished. But understand, what is the step forward?
Exactly.
So the media, the CSOs, those in government, the political, all of us have a role to play, especially the youth. Because the youth are the future. See, in Nigeria, the future of the world is Africa. That's why we see the world right here, everybody looking towards Africa. Everybody looking towards Africa. Everybody looking at Africa. Everybody's like, man, everybody wants to come invest in Africa because we understand that we have the youngest population in the world and we are still growing.
Okay, you've mentioned Africa Agenda 2063 and the efforts that need to be put in place to make it a reality. What role do you think sports can play in this direction?
We just saw the AFCON. It was beautiful. You understand? What is the wrong idea of the African identity? Is to create the Africa we want. We have started seeing that. See, coincidentally, sport will be the foundation in which we are doing the right, and politics too. Because when you start putting away all differences of sentiments, of ideology, you understand that. See, it pains me so much that with all the natural resources we have in Africa, see how we are still underdeveloped. And it pains me that the person that is looking at we ourselves, we are also causing our own problem because we are the ones selling ourselves short. How are we selling ourselves short? We are going to get the foreign coach to come and coach our national team. That is another way. I'm serious. That is another way of we selling ourselves short. We don't value what we have. You understand? We don't value what we have. We don't value. See, if you really knew what it means to be African, okay, let me give you this scenario. I always always say that the Garden of Eden is in Africa. Please tell me. Yeah.
Please tell me.
Go to Genesis. If you go to Genesis, one of the rivers that flowed through the Garden of Eden flowed through the land of Ethiopia. Where is Ethiopia? Africa. So Egypt is in Africa. So you understand that, I understand that, see, after the darkest times comes light. You understand? After the darkest times comes light. I believe that all this reason why Africa is going through this period is because we have a great destiny. We have a great future. Because see, how did civilization come? From Africa. So you understand that Africa is not a mistake. You understand? That's why you understand that those people over there don't know the value of what we have. But we as Africans, we don't know our own value. And it pains me. It pains me because, so I go inside river, so they enter my eye. It's crazy. So my brother.
Well, you know, for a very long time now, also efforts have been made from to especially on the economic front. Of course, thankfully we have ECOWAS. We also have AU. I mean, and you are now talking about Africa Agenda 2063. Looking at the journey of AU, which is the oldest of them all, and then ECOWAS itself. Do you still have hope that Africa Agenda is truly possible when we see that AU is actually, as we speak, nowhere to be found?
It's possible. The people that will change Africa is not that generation, but our generation. That's why we need passionate minds. We need to see, for those out there listening to us, we need people to invest in these ideas, in this vision. Because what is the legacy? People talk. What is the legacy? Legacy is the things you did and said when you were alive. What will you be remembered for? I believe that death should not confer sainthood on anybody. What you have done to speak for you when you die. You understand? So when I look at those people, I don't want to look at those people again. No. They're heartbreaking. It's disappointing. You understand?
Okay.
As me and you now, all of us as young people, what's the future? What's the way forward? How do we go about it? How do we push this agenda? How do we connect? We have friends in African countries. How can we put this idea? So my brother, I can tell you that today is 12th of February. I can tell you that soon thereafter, by God's will and God's grace and God's mercies, you will see those things that we're doing. Because I believe it's time for us to walk the talk. Me, I'm tired of talking. Let's put it into actions.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay. So still talking about the continent itself, because you mentioned some challenges that Nigeria face, which is about division. We first of all look at ourselves, which tribe, then religion, then our ethnic groups and all of that, because it's a huge problem from wherever is it we are coming from. Even within the African continent itself, it's divided. There is division. Notably, you have the North African countries, then you have the West African countries, and then the other parts also, Southern Africa. Then we have our peculiarities. Then there is another level of division which I've mentioned, Anglophone and Francophone, because even within the West African continent, those who speak English see themselves as different entirely from those who speak French and all of that. So these things, but when it comes to the pitch of football, like for example, the next AFCON 2025 is going to be hosted by Morocco, which is in North Africa. Still coming back to sports, because we're looking at our conversation is starting from what the lessons we've learned from AFCON. Is still using sport. Do you think we still stand a chance to break these barriers that we have created You are North African, I'm West African. You are Anglophone, I'm Francophone. Do you think sport still holds the power to break or at least to minimize these barriers?
Sport actually holds the power in the spirit of sportsmanship. That's what they call it. The spirit of sportsmanship. You understand? Because in the spirit of sportsmanship, you understand that it's a game, it's a sport. You understand? Despite who wins or lose, you understand, we are all winners. I think that is the ideology of sport itself. What we should adopt for Africa as a continent. Because end of the years back, I understood how they were actually okay, let me take you to. I just remember something about the France national team. We see the France national team now. Most of them are blacks. No, in fact, you don't even know that you think that they are even.
No, someone asked at the beginning of AFCON, where is France?
so back to what we're saying. So I believe that ideology, that spirit, of sportsmanship is what we should adopt, and we are getting there. You understand? We are getting. I'm excited to know that Morocco is hosting the next AFCON because
they have collected the CAF flag already yesterday.
Congratulations to them. But I think that back then they were always trying to run away that I'm not really African and I'm Arab and this. So you understand that at least we are getting there. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. I understand that we need people to invest in this idea. You understand that this is our own. You understand? This is we have not even explored Africa.
That's a fact.
We are not half of it. We are not explored, but we are exploring Europe. But they say, but your backyard, you never even finish that one. So you never know half of that.
But even before we go to Africa, there are people from the local government that when they hear that you are in Abuja, they are scared for your safety.
Let me do what coming from Cross University and schooling university in Enugu and serving in Sokoto and do my law school in Kano. When I was going to Sokoto, come for me, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Even for NYC, how will I have gone to Sokoto? I'm privileged to be there. So these are those things that see, we need to talk about national unity.
True.
And the thing about it is that our leaders are not doing enough. Their own is that they're only united when they want to loot.
Of course.
Still. But when they should do what it should be meant for, they don't do it. They want to see. They always have to see. I don't blame them. I blame the colonial masters. They have always done the mentality of divide and rule. Divide and rule mentality. That's what we see. That say I tell you that if one of the things that despite how angry I get with them, and I still get angry with Nigerians because during election we are going to Chatham House. What are we going to go in Chatham House? Is that not the same new colonial?
No, but it's like it's a place where they have kept a register for you. Come and register your process.
So that is the new colonialism we're talking about. Now the dollar is increasing. You understand? Rising. Everybody prefers using dollar. So now we they kill ourselves. Now we their own problem.
The CBN governor said much of that last week when he faced the National Assembly when they invited him to come and explain what's happening, and he was begging Nigerians, reduce your penchant, your desire for dollar and foreign goods.
No, you should speak truth to power. You should stop saying Nigeria. You should know the people. You should see. We need to have a who and shame list in Nigeria. You must, because if you mess up the right of and who and shame you, and posterity will be who and shame you. Nigeria is the country that corruption is called, stealing is called corruption. We have been refined. Stealing is stealing.
You give it
a step. Call it a name. See, if you call it by his name, you reduce his power. You understand? Call it by his because
financial impropriety.
What is that? Or padding, budget padding. What is budget padding? No, you understand? It sounds funny and crazy. Or you come to the National Assembly and they're asking you how you spend money. You feel that you act as if you are fated. It's crazy. And Nigerians are very we forget easily. You understand? We forget easily. Let me take you back to 2020. After COVID-19, the palliative came. The palliative were hoarded. Nigerians came and looted everything. We were very angry with our leaders. I told Nigerians, oh my God, this thing I will move on to 2023. What I saw in the grassroots, my brother, my heart bled, and it was my own generation youth that were carrying this thing. You that saying, go see this ballot box. We go cost my hair. We are much for 500 naira, for 1,000 naira. So now after elections has finished, everybody is complaining and I say that we never suffer enough. Because we make the same mistakes. You can't hold your leaders accountable when you collect money from them.
They bought
you. You understand? And they understand. See, and I appeal to government. See, I respect the president. You understand? Because he's a political strategist. You understand? But I still have my own grievances now. You don't play politics with everything. We should not play politics with everything again. We should call a spade a spade. Nigeria on our own. You understand? Nigerian, see, I enjoy politics so much because I understand that it's by calling. But I believe that once you're a politician, you automatically become a leader. I believe it's not everybody that should be a leader. True. Leadership is a responsibility. Not be say, I want to be president, I want to be president, I want to be president. You can't be president and you don't do anything. You understand? And people are always afraid to speak the truth. I don't want that. I don't want to see. I bet if I die, I'm not afraid. You understand? What am I living for? If not to make the change. So this is a common call for every Nigerian out there, wherever you are, that wherever you listen to us, that we have a role to play in the Nigeria we want to achieve. Our problem in Nigeria, we always plan for every election. Other countries are planning for 50 years, 70 years, 100 years. They are planning for 4 years. People are planning for election in 2027. People are planning for election in 2025. But what this election you are running for, what do you want to use it and do? How are you going to affect the lives of those people? I tell you that the people that are there looting are even less than the people that are waiting to be looted, to enter the room to loot. You understand? Usman Danfodo said something which I respect so much, that the man that wants power so much, you should keep away from him. The man that is desperate for power, you should keep away from him. I'm so angry with the People's Democratic Party PDP because they became very lazy. They have never been in opposition before. The best opposition they ever had was APC. Okay. Led by Swaju, the best opposition ever had. Okay. PDP, see, there's a period. See, it's annoying.
Okay, but Mr. Morris, before we change the course of the program,
please, thank you.
We are talking. We still AFCON.
Everything is connected.
Spirit of AFCON.
In the spirit of AFCON, everything is connected.
Now that we are just coming off. The spirit is still fresh. Let's talk about our own, because you talked about grassroots.
Yes.
And one of the best platforms that Nigeria has created to harness local talent is the National Sports Festival. And over the years, we've been hosting this, and it will come and pass. A lot of people will not even know that there was a tournament going on of that magnitude. What should we do? Because part of what you said, you agreed that sport is a unifying factor. It's a tool that can be used to, ignite that spirit of patriotism. We have a platform, very, very solid one, National Sports Festival. What should we be doing as a country?
The thing is that we are so used to mediocrity. That's the truth. We have not had excellence as a way of life. The National Sports Festival, that before the budget they allocate for it, some people they first of all they loot it first. You understand? They divide it down. They come and use peanuts to host it. And the persons that most of the people that they've been bringing to the first festival, are not as if they're the most qualified, but they have connection here and there. See, you see, like we talked about something. After God is government. You understand? So we can talk about sports, but we cannot take away sports from government. After God is government. Once we can get it right, once we can get leadership right, once we can get people in the position, they say, until the son of the nowhere becomes somebody, then you'll get it right. Once we can get position that we get qualified persons that will be there, not because they belong to your political party or your ethnic group, but because you see this person is passionate and is ready to change. You understand? Once we can change our attitude towards issues that concern us, see, we will get it right. Sports festival is very, very good, but how many people? We have the Federal Games, we have the Commonwealth Games. Those games should be the unifying factors where we can bring new people that will take over the generation of different sports there. But see, let me bust your head, which I have noticed that during every election, in the different sports federations, you always have inconclusive elections, elections that are rigged. Why? It's the same thing I'm saying. After God is government. We need to get it right. We don't play politics with everything.
Even the NFF, just what you have said, very valid. It's just recently that they became stable. It's been a revolving seat of power.
You understand? So it should not be so. You understand? It should not be so. So you understand? That's why at the end of the day, there's not like we talk about sports, we talk about government, we talk about leadership. Because leadership is pivotal. Leadership is very fundamental in achieving what you want to achieve. Because now congratulations, on Saturday they had these elections in FCT for female sport journalists. I was excited. They are ahead there making their manifesto and showing their oath of allegiance, and I said, I wish you can, all these things you have said, I wish you can put it into actions. That's the way forward about it. Let's go back to the grassroots. Let's go back. See, in every community in Nigeria, we play to our side.
Of course.
Nigerians love football too much.
Too much.
And I look at the group of people in the national team. Why can't you go back and pick and get a new generation?
If it's ones that are still hungry.
They are still hungry. As you see, I because we're hungry for it. You understand? Ivory Coast will see. And I tell you to come, into that next AFCON, Cameroon is coming hot. Cameroon will come hot.
No, everybody, we always go to AFCON. Everybody goes hungry.
Yeah. So you see the young boys.
Senegal is still there with their
my God. And those ones are coming back for a part of that. so apart from a laughing matter, apart from which has shared a laugh, you understand that, please, Nigerians, see, the people doing this thing to us are fellow Nigerians like us. We are not AFCON, Abi. We saw how we're happy, we're passionate, we're united. Why can't we use that spirit? Why can't we use that spirit and say we can build a new Nigeria? You understand? Yeah, the president's mantra is renew hope, renew hope. And I looked at it, what does hope mean? Renew hope. Let me just talk. How can this thing affect the common man? It pains me so much that there are so many things I want to say here that I cannot just say it because my heart is bleeding.
Well, I must say you've made a very, very cogent points, particularly with respect to the need for government to, up its ante, particularly when it comes to the use of sports in achieving national goals. Definitely, citizens also have their own role, as you've mentioned. You've talked about the role of youth. I was also very excited. If you look at the average age of the people on the field, very young people, by all definition, meaning that they hold the future of the continent in their hands. And now we're still talking about, having looked at what has happened, the possibilities from AFCON and all of that. Nigeria as a country, as a leader on the continent, by all means, what should we be doing, going forward? I've asked this before, but I still want to emphasize. I'm asking for the sake of emphasis, because there must be something that we should do. It shouldn't just end. AFCON has ended, then we're looking forward to 2025 in Morocco. And then we gather again, and after that again we look forward to another one. People have won, people have lost, but in the spirit of sportsmanship now, what should Nigeria be doing to show that leadership that is so much required on the continent?
Well, I would not want to say what Nigeria should be doing. Let's call the people behind let's call the big masquerade.
Okay.
Let's call the big masquerade, from the president down to the governors, to local government chairman, to the senators. We all have, to the citizens themselves. We all have a role to play. We actually have learned from AFCON. We saw how united we were, because AFCON was the only time Nigeria became united, because Nigeria has not been united since after the elections. The law of disunity, disharmony, you understand. But after 2020 election, this is the first time Nigerians were united. So how can we learn from that? How can we build for that? It says that let us forgive Nigeria for the past wrongs.
Okay.
Let's forgive Nigeria for all the mistakes that they have made, because the things that they have done on behalf of Nigeria, you understand that even if Nigeria was a human being, if Nigeria as a country was a human being, by now she has gone already. So let us forgive everything. Let us start afresh again. The president says we need hope, Abi. No problem. We need hope. Let's start together. How can you give people hope to be hoping for the future? Fuel prices rising, dollar rising, food prices rising, insecurity there. Nigerians are not safe. How can they have renewed hope? Let's go back to the drawing board. Where did you get it wrong? See, this is a clarion call to everybody. All of us are stakeholders. I don't like this thing where they have program where they say stakeholder. All Nigerians are stakeholders. We are stakeholders to Nigeria. Let's understand that. Okay, what is the way forward? Yesterday, whether male, female, children, all of them were watching AFCON.
Of course.
See the sense of patriotism. See,
the streets were empty.
The streets were everywhere. And even the power holders, they liked the letter in quote. They decided not to hold it. They decided not to hold it. Should say that even they were patriotic. So this patriotism should not just end in AFCON.
Okay. Let's
just take it and come to everyday way of life now. Today is Monday now. What is the way forward? Am I going to go to the court to go for a document and I have to come and give the person that is there small money to help me fast track my work? Or I want to go and see someone there because I'm not in the political party, I have to come and, you understand? Let's understand that Nigeria is our own. We need to go back to the drawing board. See, the president is not the president. We cannot fight him. We cannot fight. You understand? Let us accept that he's our president now.
Then work with him.
Let's work with him
of the country.
And we need a vibrant opposition. Positive. See, I believe in positive criticism. I don't believe in negative criticism because you come and talk. No, because you want to talk. Positive criticism. I don't believe in criticism like I'll come and want to criticize you now. I'll come and bring you down to bring down. Every man has pride and ego. and dignity, I will respect that. But I'm going to give you positive criticism. May God vindicate me. That I'm saying this is not out of malice, because I want for the progress of everybody. You understand? This is my own ideology. I believe checks and balances is what makes up a democratic system.
True.
You understand? We need to have an independent judiciary. The executive should be independent. The legislature should be independent. You understand? We need checks and balances. We don't need rubber stamp. You need to, yes, all of them need to work together, but they need to be checks and balances. We should understand that we are growing and we are developing. And a lot of people are hoping on these leaders. We are learning as a young person. I'm learning, if not because for the fear of God and the understanding that this path you have chosen is not you that choose it, is the path that chooses your destiny. You understand? So many people want to japa, so many people want to leave Nigeria. We need to address that. It's crazy.
So much on the table. Really.
There's so much on the table that we need to. That this program, this time alone, will not be. See, my brother. We want to say, may God help us, and let's start helping ourselves.
Amen. May God help us, and let's start helping ourselves. There you have it. Of course, every time with Barrister Morris, it's always a very passionate one, particularly things that have to do with the country, the youth especially, and what they can do or what they should do in uplifting or changing the narrative of where we are at the moment as a country. But I will let him go without allowing him a few more seconds to speak directly now to fellow youth about what they should do going forward, because on social media platforms, like we were saying before we started the program, you go to social media platforms, you see Nigerian youth, instead of focusing on what matters, people are talking about things that are true to me, shouldn't matter. And so I want you to use the next few seconds to just speak directly to Nigeria, especially those with access to the internet and social media.
You don't need to believe us. Our population, we don't have many of us in Nigeria. But this is a cloud country, Nigeria. I beg. You understand? They say it's only Nigerians that it's only a fellow Nigerian that can drag in Nigeria. No?
Of course. If you don't know, nobody if you
you understand. So as a fellow
others will gather.
So as a fellow Nigerian, I'm appealing to Nigerians that this is our energy, this is our ginger, this is our sagacity, this is our vibrancy. Let's channel it now to something positive. You understand? I saw during the Imole issue protest, I saw Nigerians protesting for Imole's there. My heart bleed. I was happy, but I was sad at the same time. Why can't we channel this energy to other aspects of Nigeria that is development? We have keeper. We see one of the blessings in our generation is the internet. You understand? How can we use the internet to bedify and make everything better now? We have the population, we have the manpower, we have the future. How can we use it now? You understand? So they don't say the election is coming this year. I'm appealing to Edo youth that let us not make mistake. Let's not make Nigeria is now hoping on the big hearts, Edo State. Let's not make the same mistakes you have been making in the past election. Now, as Nigerian citizens, especially as Nigerian youth, let's understand that the most people that are doing the kidnapping, the banditry, the causing mayhems are youths. But people that are behind these youths, there are people behind these people doing all these things. Please, this is our own country. See, this I don't know if I should kneel down here or should lie. I don't mind.
I think your voice is enough.
Shame cannot catch the shameless. So I don't mind lying down and begging, because end of it, our own be this. You understand? Our own be this, and we need this older generation. We need mentorship. We don't have mentorship. You can't give what you don't have. We're not showing that call generation, the wasted generation. When you fail to do what you need to do, you put a greater responsibility on the upcoming generation. We don't have anything. And I'm crying and praying to my own generation that we should not give a greater burden to the upcoming generation now. See, these Gen Zs, they don't agree for anybody. Gen Z.
At all.
So I'm see, most of the work with Gen Zs that actualize it, because they have the fire. They don't agree for anybody. They go drag you to. You understand? So this is an appeal to Nigerian youth. Let us see how can we make Nigeria better. Go to your own corner. What is your own in your own way? See, reach out to us. Reach out to me. We are going to collaborate. One of those days you want to do no. See, football taught us the importance of teamwork. Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work. You understand? The 11 players on the pitch cannot do it on their own. They need to rely on everybody. The striker, the defender, the midfielder, you understand? So football is like, see, if you can get the lesson from football and from chess and add it up together, we can create a nation that the world cannot even dare to come close.
Thank you very much, Barrister Maurice Ebam. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so
At
much.
any point in time we call on you, you're always here to bring that fire, ignite that passion, especially in all of us as young people. And most importantly, from what he has said, for me, the lesson I have picked is that it's not just, he's not talking about you waiting for somebody to take an action. It's on you as a person, as an individual. He says you should learn from what makes a football team successful. Everybody must do their part. You ask yourself, are you doing your own part? And if it's a goal that you have set to achieve for yourself, ask yourself, are you actually putting in the needed work to make it work? These are questions left for you to answer. And it's on this note that we have to draw the curtains on this segment of the program to go join the Investment Plus team for those financial tips to make us financially smarter. Do stay with us. We will be right back after that segment.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Investment Plus. Today, we're going to uncover the real reason why so many of you find yourselves struggling with your finances. It is actually time for you to confront that truth and empower yourself to make the necessary change that you have to make. Imagine this. You work so hard, long hours, every morning you have to wake up early, rush to the workplace, and then you come back month on month, your account remains empty. Now that's frustrating, and I know you agree with me. So today let's look at a few reasons behind our financial struggles and uncover the path to brighter financial future. Now, reason number one is the lack of financial education. Think about it. So how much time did you spend learning about money in school? Now the interesting thing for me with this is that we all go to school, come out of school, to go make money, yet while in school we are not taught much about making money. And that is very sensitive, because when you graduate from school, for example, personally, when I graduated and I started to work, I was a very brilliant student. I knew all the maths and the statistics. I never got a B. But getting to the workplace, I was always broke. It's about numbers, but I didn't have the right financial education. So you have to break free from the chain of ignorance. So you were not taught in school is not enough excuse. You were not taught at home is not enough excuse. You have to, on your own, look for financial education that will help you, equip yourself to start creating wealth. So that's the first reason. Reason number two is the temptation for instant gratification. Now, there's the law of impulse buying and keeping up with the latest trends. I mean, if you look everywhere around you, TV, social media, you're always bombarded with all sorts of things that would easily bounce you off if you don't build discipline. So people keep falling into that trap of wanting everything right now. But you forget something. Real wealth building takes time. Nobody creates wealth gratifying instant desire. So it's time for you to take a step back, reassess your financial spending, your spending habits, and distinguish between your needs and your wants. You have to be clear what it is you have to focus on now and what you have to put a pause on for later. Reason number three is the fear of taking risks. Investing in yourself and your dreams can yield tremendous rewards for you, but only if you conquer that fear and embrace opportunity, particularly if you've ever invested before and you lost monies. It could be that you're not afraid to take that step again, but that's not the right way to go. Because the truth is, when you realize that there's no other way to create wealth but to invest, what you need to do is to start to reassess the risks you take when it comes to investing. So you will have to embrace the concept of risks and start to invest. Now, here's the hard truth. The real reason that you're broke lies within you. It's about taking ownership of your actions and making necessary changes to create a better financial future. But listen closely to this. Being broke doesn't define you as a person. It is merely a temporary situation that can be overcome. I'm sure you've heard stories of a lot of wealthy people that started from nothing, and today they are very successful financially. So it is time for you also to rewrite your financial story, develop a growth mindset, seek financial education, resist the need to, gratify your desires instantly, and then fearlessly pursue your dreams. Please remember that change that we're talking about starts from inside. Reflect on your financial choices every time. Identify areas where you need to improve and take action. It won't be easy, but nothing worthwhile ever is. So rise above the limitations around you, embrace the challenges, and transform your financial reality. Wishing you success in your finances. See you next time.
Welcome back from that very valuable segment, financial tips being dished out there by the Investment Plus team. And right away, of course, every second Monday of every February is observed globally as World Epilepsy Day, and therefore we have with us a very suitable guest to talk about this. What is epilepsy? What's the theme for this year's commemoration? What are we expected to do going forward? And I have with me Dr. Nwala Gabriel. Dr. Nwala Gabriel is a consultant pediatrician with Limi Hospital. So Dr. Nwala, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you join us this morning. So generally, what's the theme for this year's commemoration of World Epilepsy Day?
Okay, this year's theme is captioned milestones of epilepsy journey.
Okay. Milestones of epilepsy journey.
So it tries to celebrate the gains and the strengths of people living with epilepsy.
Okay.
So they, being a chronic neurologic disorder, it's like a journey. The control of those seizures that they have, it's something that they have experienced over the years.
Okay.
And this year tries to celebrate some of these experiences they've had, so as to encourage them, to ensure that they have meaningful lives and achieve their potentials.
Okay, talk to us about the prevalence rate of this disease, and over the years, from your own assessment, have we made progress, especially in management?
Okay, so globally, about 67.7 million people suffer from this chronic condition.
Oh.
And every year, about 5 million new cases are being reported. So you can see how large a burden epilepsy is. So that calls for serious concerted efforts to manage it.
Okay, so but looking at in-country effort, particularly Nigeria, I mean, what's the prevalence like, and what's been done? Are we making progress?
Okay, so in Nigeria, let me talk about developing countries. The largest burden of epilepsy is actually in developing countries. We have as high as 139 people per 100,000.
139 people per 100,000.
That's the incidence of epilepsy in developing countries, Nigeria inclusive. So there's actually scattered data here and there from different facilities on epilepsy. So it will be difficult to actually say this is the number in Nigeria. But with heightened efforts and collaborations among experts, it's expected that we'll have a more comprehensive data on epilepsy.
You're talking about access to treatment. How would you describe access to treatment in Nigeria, and also the expertise?
Okay, so the the major challenge encountered in the management of epilepsy is the level of awareness. A lot of people think that this problem is something that it's spiritual. It's something that doesn't have a cure. And because of that, a good number of people suffering from this condition don't really seek for help in our available facilities. There are a number of experts that can properly control these seizures, but the number of people that are presenting to our facilities actually is just like a tip of an iceberg. They're actually smaller than the burden out there, and when they do eventually come, most of them come when there are complications already. The seizures that accompany the condition is something that within a short time can actually resolve. Most people with seizures within 5 minutes it will spontaneously resolve. But some of the harmful practices that people engage in, like putting the legs in fire and all that, putting some concussions in the eyes and the mouth and all that, will end up causing more life-threatening problems than the problem itself. So if these part of why we need to do this awareness campaign is for people to know that epilepsy is not an infectious problem. It's not something that is contracted from person to person, but it's something that once is available, is something that you can actually get help from a number of facilities around. So once there is good control of the seizures, the individual will have good quality of life and still achieve his or her potentials in life. Okay.
So what's the fatality rate?
Okay, it's not a problem that will overtly lead to fatality. Okay. But when you are now looking at the underlying reason why the convulsions are happening and some of the complications that can follow or absent treatment. So those are the things that can cause mortalities. For instance, if somebody is swimming and has an epileptic attack, the person can drown. So that drowning, is not like epilepsy directly being responsible, but it's an indirect thing. If somebody that has that condition is not accompanied on such an adventure, that can happen. If the person is driving and it happens, the person can have a road traffic accident that will be fatal. So it's indirectly as well with some problems that might lead to mortality, but the condition on itself, once is well managed, shouldn't lead to any mortality. Okay, so before we let you go, what can you tell us should watch out and do, especially with respect to epilepsy? Okay, so especially in children. Okay, so for seizure, I mentioned earlier that most times when somebody is having a seizure, within 5 minutes it will resolve. So in our different homes, if you notice that somebody is convulsing, there are a couple of things you can do. One is remove any potentially injurious thing around the person. Any objects that in the process of the seizures can hurt the person, it should be removed. Then the second thing is to stay with the person, observe the person and ensure that nothing untoward happens while you call for help. So when the help arrives, you take the person to the hospital for proper management. All right. So, I'm sure you have activities lined up for this commemoration to, of course, enhance awareness, right? Okay, so this is part of what we lined up. We have a couple of radio and TV programs that are aimed at raising awareness of epilepsy, as well as helping people out there understand what epilepsy is and how it's managed, and as well as give all the necessary support to those living with epilepsy so that they have meaningful lives not be stigmatized by people, because somebody having epilepsy doesn't mean that once he comes in contact with another person, the person picks it.
Okay.
So if there is no stigmatization and is properly managed, they will achieve their full potentials.
I'm sure you manage epilepsy at Limi Hospital.
Okay, so my bias is childhood neurology.
Okay.
So one of the commonest presentations in child neurology clinic is epilepsy. So we see lots and lots of them.
Where can we see Limi Hospital?
Okay, Limi Hospital we have 3 expressions. One in Gariki area 11. Okay. There's another one at the central area, Central Business District, as well as Wuse 2. Okay. So Ademola Adetukumbo in Wuse 2 is where Limi Children's Hospital is. That's takes care of children with a number of problems, including childhood epilepsy.
I have to say sincere thank you to Dr. Wala Gabriel. He is a consultant pediatrician with Limi Hospital. Thank you for bringing us up to speed with regard to the activities to commemorate this year's World Epilepsy Day.
Thank you for having me.
We'll go on this very quick break. When we come back, we'll still be talking about health. Another person will be joining us. To stay with us.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and the responsibilities of a sovereign state. Today, Nigeria has been admitted into the United Nations organization and assume still more responsibilities. I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. We in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. We are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in
Of course, you're welcome back from that very short break, taking a listen to some of our forefathers of the country. And this is to welcome us back again to the program, the last interview segment on Aso Morning Today. Of course, alternative medicine practice in Nigeria. It's been, in the talks for as long as I can remember. People who, are for it. There are people who are saying be cautious. But of course, there are people who have also immensely benefited from the practices of alternative medicine. I'm talking about patients who have received treatment and are thankful for it. And therefore, we have invited into the studio Dr. John Bison, who is the director, WellFit 360, to help us explore some of the benefits of alternative medicine practice. Dr. Bison, you're welcome to Aso Studios.
Thank you for having me.
So when we say alternative medicine practice, what does it really mean?
All right. Alternative medicine practice is actually practices or treatment that are outside the mainstream medicine. And when I refer to the mainstream medicine, this is the orthodox or the Western medicine as it is being called. The the medicine that is practiced in the four walls of hospitals. So any other treatment or practices that is away from that setting can be referred to alternative medicine. And of course, alternative medicine has a lot of protocols, has a lot of branches, and has the way most of them view ailment and view the patient and view healing altogether.
Okay, so what is the essential difference between orthodox medicine and medicine practice and alternative medicine practice?
Okay, the difference here is in the alternative medicine, we try to look at preventive medicine. Okay. Medicine back to the patient hand, where the patient can practice a self-care health. Okay. Because that is where the power lies. Health care means how do you care for your health, not a diseased state where you start running to the hospital
for someone to help you.
For someone to help you.
Okay.
So the Western medicine look at disease from the state of disease. They want to help you at that point. Yeah. But we are saying that away from that, you can actually help someone not to go into this chronic disease, because most chronic disease are diseases that are developed, and not diseases that over time. So you can coach these people. And who is a doctor? A doctor is a teacher from a Greek sense of view. So not just prescribing, but you need to teach these people. So the alternative medicine look at teaching, coaching, and helping the patient to develop a holistic view of their life, of their mind, of their spirit. And with that, you find out that such a patient will live longer, will live more healthier, and can even reverse most of their chronic ailments.
So are there points where there is a handshake between alternative medicine practice and orthodox medicine practice?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
For me, I always advise do complementary, where you are working both with the Western medicine, because there's nothing wrong with what they are doing. They are getting result, and the alternative medicine is getting result also. So working in harmony in the US and UK, most hospitals have started employing alternative doctors to work directly in the hospital to develop these protocols and programs for their patients. So, but here it's still new. Some universities have already they want to welcome the course to our university setting. So I believe that in a few years to come, things might change.
In a few years to come. But I still want to dwell on that, because acceptance is one thing. People have developed this mindset about the orthodox medicine, that if you are sick and it's not hospital that you go to, and you tell them that I'm going to Dr. Bisong's health facility, who is an alternative medicinal provider, many people don't feel comfortable with that. So why is this level of why is there still this slow pace of acceptance, especially of your practice?
I think it boils down to awareness. People need to be aware. People need to be real. We need to go out and re-inform people. People's mind have made up that medicine has to come from the hospital. I have a patient that no matter what you do, no matter what the doctor will call the patient do like this, if the patient do not get to the hospital forward, he will not get his healing. So I think we are still at that state at this moment. But informations like this and awareness can go a long way to change people's minds towards this. Our forefathers practiced this. It's not just about herbs, because when we talk about alternative medicine, people just think
coming to ask that.
Herbs. Yes. It's not all about herbs alone. Herbs is part of the nutrition aspect of it. But we look at lifestyle. What's your lifestyle? The father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, says that let food be your medicine, or you make medicine your food. Most lifestyle disease, most chronic disease, from diabetes to cancer to high blood pressure to cholesterol issue, this lifestyle disease stem out from our food and lifestyle, how people are living. And there are a lot of documentary from the Blue Zone documentary that have shown how people live long in some regions in the world and live more healthier without this chronic disease. And all that came out is a good lifestyle and a good diet. So it doesn't just boil down to herbs alone. If we emphasize that, it means that we are getting it all wrong. Yes.
Now, because I asked this question understanding that, for example, when people are involved in accidents and they break bones, people don't think of hospital at that point. They want to go to a traditional healer or an alternative medicine provider. Why is that? Is it that there is this selection? Because when I've never seen somebody who feels comfortable in Nigeria that you have a broken bone or you have a fracture, you have a, what is it called? A dislocation, you are comfortable going to the hospital. They don't want you to go to the hospital. They would rather go to that alternative medicine provider because they know that's more effective. Why is that?
Well, I think most people believe that that is the only place that alternative traditional medicine has result. And just to add to it, most people that practice it, people feel that they are not educated, no school, no learning, they don't know anything about diabetes. And of course, there are many people like that. You meet a malam who says that he's practicing alternative medicine in a traditional way, and you say diabetes, and he's telling you that it's related to the heart. And you know, you that are learners, you say diabetes, heart, what relationship? So, and then another thing is the fetish culture that was wrapped around alternative medicine in the past. So people feel that alternative medicine has to do with this connection of the spirit that must bring the flow of healing to the body, but that is far-fetched from that.
I have an incredible story to share. This is very close to home. My mother, she suffered poison, this CO2 poisoning, inhaling smoke. It affected her central nervous system. She broke down completely. In fact, she lost her memory, went to every hospital you can think of in Nigeria, and at the end of the day, we just had to go back home. Her memory and her motor coordination was nowhere. But at the end of the day, we were directed somewhere with hesitation. From my dad, of course. At the end of the day, we went there, and I tell you, someone who could not sit, she couldn't do anything by herself. Within 5 days, my mother came back, and we're good till today. This is years down the line, and that's when my own perception about alternative medicine practice, because I observed what the man was doing from everywhere. I followed him to where he fetched his herbs. There was nothing fetish about it and all of that. It was just pure knowledge. He just asked basic questions, and then he went ahead to get all these things. And some she will drink, some she will use it to rub her body, some she will bath with it, and all of nothing fetish. And this is years down the line. I've spoken with my mom this morning. This is someone who she looks at, your name is John. Your mom looks at you and say,
John,
this girl, stand up from there. You know how devastating it can be to tell you that how far it has gone. But it's all gone within a space of weeks and all of that. So why do people still, you've mentioned some of the factors. Education. People think you must be educated, you must wear a white coat, you must be in the four walls of the hospital to be able to understand how the human body works. But you say something that is very profound also. It all boils down to what we eat and drink. From your own practice, I'm sure you have an association. How much awareness are you people bringing into, because you have success stories, right?
Sure.
So, and medicine is all about results. If someone tells me that I went to Mr. A and I got this relief, I got this cure, how much are you people investing in propagating your success stories in such a way that believability will come in, that will make people to overlook the house, what you are wearing, and this fact that you are not a medical doctor, quote and unquote. How much investment are you doing in this awareness creation?
I think not much to say. From my own end, I'm trying to do I'm trying to work on things regarding that.
Okay.
Trying to put up some free health talks.
Okay.
That is going to run online.
All right.
For almost every month.
Okay.
And we hope that is going to yield result.
Okay.
Then another big challenge that we have as we are talking regarding investment,
yes.
the funds are not really there. If the funds is there, I would have loved to host maybe a 30-minute weekly program right here for many people to see. And then, do I have that kind of financial capacity? Do I have the funding coming that I can have funds that can open an alternative clinic as big as maybe an hospital? So if you're able to do such investment, I believe that people will believe more. So the investment is key and is not really there. But I think in Nigeria, we are coming up. We'll get there very soon.
Okay.
We are coming up quickly. We'll get there very soon. Okay. There are results, no doubt. Yeah. Mostly we work with people with chronic disease.
Okay.
And some form of infections. When I refer to chronic disease like cancer, we have gotten results. My mom was diagnosed of breast cancer 2 years ago, but now she's 100% fine. Just as you said, the result can be very short.
Yes.
You will be amazed with the result. My dad was also diagnosed of diabetes. We just told him some things to stop eating, some things he need to incorporate into his diet, some herbs that he should look. And there's no diabetes again. He's eating all the food he needs to eat now. So I just think that the results are there, and the result will continue to speak for itself. You can look, you can Google it, see what is being practiced in the US. The results are there. Many white people are falling back to alternative medicine now, and I think we should be careful so that in the next 10 or 20 years, what the white people are running from now, it should not be what will be cut into. True. Because the budget of Nigeria will not be able to pay for the chronic disease that people will develop from their lifestyle. Okay,
final saying, because time is almost up. Is there any other thing that you want the world to know about what you're doing?
All right, what we do is we try to help our patients to honor their body. Okay. Because when they honor their body, we believe that their body will honor them back. Okay. We try to help patients to go back to the normal way that the body was designed to operate. Function. And once that is done, no matter the health condition that patient is going through, there will be a reversal. The patient will live longer. The patient will be strong. And of course, the patient will be free from sickness.
So if someone wants to get across to you, is there a means of doing that?
Yes, we have an office, but I think phone number can go.
Yes, please.
Now. All right, so they can call or WhatsApp us on 070 620 74421. Okay, let me call it again.
All right.
070 620 74421.
Thank you very much, Dr. John Bisong.
You're welcome, sir.
He is the director, WellFit 360. WellFit 360. I'm sure they can check you out on social media, on internet generally. And we've been talking about exploring the benefits of alternative medicine practice in Nigeria. Dear viewer, you will agree with me that our time this morning is well spent. I want to sincerely thank you for investing your time with us this morning. I hope that you will be here again with us tomorrow as we do this, bringing to you different segments of Aso Morning to get your morning started properly. My name is Usman Khatun Umar, and on behalf of everyone that has made this possible to come to you, I say do enjoy the rest of the day.